Hi, everybody. This is Wayne Sadin, host of Acceleration Economy's Future CXO and Board channel. And today I've got the honor and the privilege of filling in for Bob Evans, who's taken some well-deserved time off. Bob normally covers the cloud industry per se. And so let me talk about a company that was in the news. IBM reported their earnings recently. Now, I'm not going to cover the earnings call. One of my colleagues, Aaron Back, did a great job of handling that. I do want to talk about an interview that Arvind Krishna, the CEO of IBM, had with the Wall Street Journal. A couple of things he said. One thing isn't surprising. When asked what are the big items in IT, he cited AI, he cited hybrid cloud, and he cited cybersecurity. Now, if you read the IBM earnings call transcript, you'll see those are the things IBM is focusing on. So naturally, these were things that made sense for him to say. Another thing that came up in the conversation was his thought about AI and when we'll get the ethical and societal issues worked out so that AI can be seen as fair and equitable as a tool for society and for business. His comment is 10 years. He's got as good an insight as anybody. So the message for the business community is you've got the next 10 years to figure out how to use AI, but you won't necessarily be living in the AI world where it takes away your business functions and does them instead of you for maybe 10 years. Depending on where you are in your career, that might be terrific news, or you may be chomping at the bit to get that going. The other thing that caught my eye as a 30-year CIO is his comment about CIOs and the relationship to CEOs. He said 10 years ago, the business would make a decision and say, this is what we want to do, and then call the CIO and say, go do it. And he said, today, that's not what even he does as a competent technologist. He gets the CIO involved in, can we do it? Should we do it? How can we do it? And gets the collaborative decision-making faster. His other comment is 10 years ago, IT was a cost function, and we were just trying to get the cost of IT reduced 10%, whatever the number was. But today, his comment is, I actually don't care if you spend more, if that makes everyone else more productive. Now, I've been saying that on these videos and to clients for years. If your IT spend is 1.5%, 2.5%, 3% of your total sales, 10% of it isn't a lot of money. If you can change the customer experience, if you can change the supply chain economics, if you can change the products themselves using IT investment, you've got a tremendous amount of leverage. And that's what Krishna says. He also says, if you can do something for me that I don't have to hire people because I can't, that is also incredibly useful. The last thing he said about the CIO is that the business community, the business leaders, CEOs, board members, are much more IT savvy. They don't have to be technologists, but his comment is they have to understand intuitively, his word, what you can do with IT, so then they can talk to the CIO about it. But his comment is that the CIO needs to own architecture, needs to own the choices of how we're going to implement, because if the business runs off in every direction implementing, you're not going to have commonality. Again, his word. Everything isn't going to mesh. So enterprise architecture and overarching decisions should be made by the IT function. So the business can then, as I want to say, the business decides what, and the CIO's organization decides how. Look, the interview was terrific. If you're a technology leader, if you're not a technology leader, this is something you should be reading. Otherwise, I hope you'll use this thinking in running your own business, whatever business you're in.